Welcome to the Muse. Yesterday, I fell off an emotional cliff for no good reason. I was actually in a pretty fantastic mood. I had a nice conversation with a friend that morning. I don't know. Next thing I know, I had to do a little bit of work. I listened to something I recorded, and a little part in my inner world came up, and I thought, ugh, that sounds so stupid. You're an idiot. Oh my God. I can't believe that's already produced. It's going to go out. Oh, God. Why are you doing this? Why do you do anything? And the thing just went on. This voice in my head just went on. And before I knew it, I was in a pissy mood and I didn't know what to do with myself. So at one point I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the beach. So I got up and I dragged myself to the beach because I got to go do something. Well, the beach it was hella windy. It was literally like sand blowing in my face. I was there for maybe like 5 minutes. I was like, well, maybe I'll go to a coffee shop. I couldn't find a coffee shop, nor did I even want to be with myself long enough to sit in a coffee shop. Couldn't engage my family to do anything with me. They were busy. And I ended up on the couch watching, I'm not even kidding. I watched the John Benet Ramsey documentary, 3 hours of it on the couch in a cloud of self loathing while I ate every last thing that I could get my paws on. This was my day yesterday. But I recognize this part in my inner world. She's very familiar to me. And the whole time I just thought, well, you know what? I'm going to be in observance of this. I'm not going to dive into the attachment to, oh my God, I can't believe you ate all that. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. You've done nothing today. You've yada, yada, like all of the things, right? Maybe I should call someone they can pull me out of it, or maybe that. No, I just kind of sat with it. I just kind of hung with it. It didn't really get any better, and I just stayed in observance of it. And I was reading, it reminded me of this poem that I had read. I was reading this morning this poem by Red Hawk in the self observation book, and it goes like this. So what? Your dog disappeared and never came back? So what? Your neighbor encroached on your property and refused to correct it? So what? Your parents didn't love you? So what? You caught your mate in bed with your best friend? So what? Your husband died of a heart attack and you have been told you have 3 weeks to live? So what? We are all born to die? So what? The human race is on the verge of extinction? So what? The atomic bombs are all in the hands of lunatics? So what? Everything is what it is, exactly as it is. All meaning and all suffering derive from judging it good or bad, which is arbitrary, subjective, relative, and meaningless. You completely and vehemently disagree? So what? Think about that. Think about that poem. Everything is what it is, exactly as it is. All meaning and all suffering derive from judging it as good or bad, which is arbitrary, subjective, relative, and meaningless. So, sitting on the couch in a cloud of self loathing about how I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I ate all the things, da, 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 that's judgment. That's judgment. Oh my God, this is bad. This is horrible. And this is where suffering comes from. That is how suffering is derived. And guess what? That is a completely fabricated, meaningless narrative that's going on in my head. It's entirely subjective, right? I could say, oh, you're relaxing, you're enjoying, you're eating all the good food left over from Thanksgiving. What a wonderful, beautiful gift you have of relaxing all day, right? Like that could have been what I said. It's all subjective. Do you understand everything up here in our minds? Everything that we are telling ourselves, everything that we are telling each other about what's happening in our lives, in our minds, in our bodies, outside in the world. It's all arbitrary, subjective, and meaningless. And it is the cause of all of our suffering. So what do? Well, we observe. I observed. I just observed and tried not to have a whole lot of judgment about it. Tried not to judge it as good or bad and observed when I was doing that. The less we identify with the lunatics that are in our mind, right? The less we identify with this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, the quicker that energy that is hijacking us dissipates, and the quicker we get control over our life back. We get to choose then with our own free will where we want to put our energy. And I, for one, do not want to put any more energy into this mind machine that I have that narrates a bunch of bullshit a lot of the time, most of the time, maybe even all the time. Even if it thinks that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, that's still bullshit, right? I don't want to spend my time attached to these ridiculous stories that go on in my mind because the absence of that, to me, that's freedom. I choose freedom. And freedom is something that you and me are only allowed to give to ourselves. We're the only one that's in charge, right? Just like Viktor Frankl said, locked up, Holocaust survivor, complete all the freedoms taken away. I had this podcast with Alan Gompers, right? Same thing. Everything taken away, in jail, all the things. Nelson Mandela, all of these are people that found freedom because they had freedom in their minds. They had freedom with their perspective. They had freedom in not identifying with what we are so sure is good or bad or right or wrong about us, about other people, about the world, da 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 da. Right? That's freedom, my friends. If this was helpful, please share it. Please give me a 5-star review so that other people can hear this message. Please subscribe, like, and share. And most of all, ask yourself, where are you going to find freedom today? See you next time.